Hey there everyone, it's Michael Damon back with you for the latest episode of Starbeam.one, Stand Up and Shine. And Shill, we also shill here from time to time. And this is a show where I go through and talk about my progress with Starbeam.one, talk about what I've been doing, what I'm going to be working on, and any friction points. And so much more, it turns out. Let's begin. All right, starting out with some program notes. This is sort of the you are here pin in a mall map sort of thing. And right now we are in the Alpha 0, which is the Friends and Family Alpha, which was announced last month. And as I mentioned in the last episode, I announced it, and that's pretty much all that happened. I didn't get further than my friends and family, really. I still haven't announced it on Twitter, and as we'll see, that still is not going to occur for another month. It's right now, it's a moment of awkwardness, and I explain this a little bit more in the blog post, but I now tried to announce the Friends and Family, and then there's all these problems that took the wind out of my sails, and now I'm kind of in the middle of building this administration application, which we'll talk about. But anyways, this is building towards the Alpha 1, which should be in the October-November timeframe. Might even be a little bit sooner than that. We'll see. But that's kind of where we're at right now. And with the Alpha 1, that's when things are going to start happening in earnest. I promise you, going forward with the like marketing and advertising and things of that nature. All right, next slide here. Yeah, I feel bad, right? Like it's, just nothing's really happening right now. I've kind of got myself in this awkward spot where I made this announcement and, it's still friends and family. So I wasn't really trying to promote it a lot, but still I'm really not able to do anything right now because as we'll see, there are a few things that I need to get done before I can start promoting this thing in confidence. And so the statistics are really kind of lame right now. They're just really boring. There's not a lot that has happened at all since the last episode. It's all zeros. So yeah, unfortunately, it's just that's the name of the game. And, when things like this happen, I'm going to own up to it as much as when things are happening sort of thing. So nothing's really changed, but, you can find these statistics in the dashboard. I'll scroll back up here real quickly to kind of get back to the, I am getting some traffic. Some people are visiting, but if you want to see the dashboard at any time, just go up here to this hamburger menu item and click on that and just go to dashboard. Now it'll take you to this screen. Okay, so we're getting to, what did I do right now? And, I am getting things done. So we'll get into that with effective. I'm actually coding really well. Things are going really well. It's just that I have like this anxiety right now of just making this announcement and the site's out there, not really promoting it. And then, I'm having to make the confession here with these videos to say that, not a lot is going on with the promotion and marketing aspect just yet. And we'll get into the reason why for that. But I did get the Transaction Explorer, and that's so much better now. So, that's what I'm going to be demoing here in this episode, is to kind of demonstrate how the transactions look, and they look so much nicer. It's a lot better now. So the primary main event right now, what I'm working on is the administration application, and it's just one of those things where I should have done right when I started Starbeam.one. That was over 2.5 years ago. In fact, I did make a version of this, and it's just been sitting there, and so finally I've been kind of, I brushed off the dust on what was there for the administration application, kind of got into it and started adding sections to it, and it's actually moving really well. So that's kind of like the good news, is I'm getting a lot of work done, and things are moving very fluidly with that. But there's just a lot. Just think about all of the administration activities you have to do with running a marketplace, right? So I'm just getting very bare minimum activities in place and entities in place, but it's going along really well. It is a lot of work, but there's no friction. There's not a lot of friction that I'm encountering. It's just getting it all done. So that's been really encouraging. I have users up. I've got transactions. I've got authentications, and it's really cool. It's sort of like a CMS system. There's no editing in place, but there are a few actions. The other thing that I have are processes. So one of the things will happen. So like, let's say you start a withdraw. And this is something that's very important, right? This is exactly what an administration application does, is that you do a start a process like a withdrawal or a deposit, which is kind of what I'm really worried about. And then something happens, something breaks, right? There's an exception that occurs. We haven't had any exceptions just yet. But if they do occur, what happens? Well, there's a lot of things you have to do to make that. You have to make some database edits and whatnot. And it's a lot of work. It's just a lot of churn. Of course, then you have to do the main driver behind this is that I have to get into SQL, right? And that means getting into Azure and opening up rules with Azure and things of that nature, and it just doesn't feel right, right? Like I'm kind of mitigating, or excuse me, I'm kind of, I don't want to say compromising, but I'm lessening the security of my system every time I do that. So if I'm doing work and I forget to close the rule or whatnot, my system's wide open, and it's probably not a big deal. It's just, it's a matter of principle, or, I guess discipline, right? I want to be more disciplined than that. I only want to open up that rule, or get into place my system in that state only if it's absolutely necessary. So what this administration application does is it makes it less that I have to do that. And so things like this, right? So if I have a process that fails, I had to do like 3 or 4 different steps to restart it. And so now I just, with a click of a button, presses a button, it restarts it, and it's so much nicer. And so that's in place now. And then finally, I kind of shout out to pioneer.app. You can check them out. They pinged me on my site. And again, I still don't know if it's a real person that did that, or if they got, I'm starting to get emails now from these different sites, and it's kind of difficult to know which one's a real human or not. And so this seemed like a real human, and I applied to that. And check out pioneer.app. It's kind of a cool story. And also do a search for, I'll put it in the link in the description here, the Pioneer app Forbes article. Excellent article. I definitely highly recommend that you check it out. All right, next slide here. Okay, so that was what I was working on for the past 2 weeks. Then what am I going to be working on for the next 2 weeks here? And, every episode I've got a list of all the tasks. These are measured in days, kind of the primary chunk of work that I look at when I do planning, And so what you see here is what I work with, right? I just work out of an Excel spreadsheet, and I've been doing that for over 2 years now, and it's worked really well for me. And it's just, this is basically, this work needs to get done for this story to be complete. And as you can see up there in the yellow orangish, I'm working on the administration application, which is what I talked about. And so there are a few things. So one of the things, I made this announcement, and there was, I kind of put myself in this awkward spot, right? And I kind of talk about this as being in this awkward spot now. It's like, well, it's public and it's friends and family, so not a lot of people are expected to use it, but anyone can use it, right? It's still publicly accessible. Anyone can, sign up and create an account and buy something if they'd like. And so that's still out there. So I don't want to go out and make a big deal about it until I have a few of these key pieces in place. And so one of them is the withdraw, right? And so when I initially did the withdraw, envisioned it, there's a lot of checks that are in place right now, a lot of limits that are in place with the withdrawal. So I'm not too worried about it, but I still want to review it, right? If someone makes a request for a withdrawal, I still want to review it and be like, okay, I'm going to check this person's account, which I can do now. I can see all the transactions and see, okay, I get a pretty good idea, what's going on with this account, and just having a little bit more visibility there. So that's the number one thing I want to get done. And then there is the, refunds. So that's the other thing, is the refunds, right? So I don't have any way of doing any refunds right now. So if someone asks for a refund, and it's, again, friends and family, the likelihood of that happening is low, but it's public. Anyone can use this at any point. And it only takes one person for me to be like, oh yeah, I probably should have had that. That's what this administration application does, right? It puts me in a place where it's easier for me to attend to things like that. So I want to have refunds in place along with a refund policy, because I don't have one just yet officially, and getting that all in place. And then hopefully all that's done. And that should only be this next month, right? So it's still kind of an awkward spot, but for this next month, the next monthly status update, we should be in a much better place to actually start doing some promotion and feeling a little bit better about things. So, all right, so moving on to the next slide here. Friction points. So funny, because it's exactly the same as last time, right? So we have Office support. Still can't figure out my issue here. I opened both my Azure support ticket and Office 365 support ticket in May. So we're now in 2 months and they still can't figure it out. It's really kind of, wow, right? Really, I'm just being really patient with it, and I'm trying to be as helpful as possible. And, the Azure is a permissions issue, and, it's not too big of a deal. I've got workaround around it, so I'm not really sweating it that much, but it's still kind of like, wow, can you imagine if this is something that was taking down my site, or it was a really difficult issue? And, it's just really kind of concerning in that regard. The other is Coinbase, and same problem. They have this issue. And to their credit, Coinbase has done an excellent job with their forums. They've been really responsive, and they've been really updating, in days, right? There's no longer the weeks or months of, or years have gone by without anything, which is what we had in the previous. So they've been really good with that. So, I'm being really patient with Coinbase. And the other thing too is that with this withdrawal program, I'm going to explore another way of doing withdrawals through Coinbase, which is using the send. It's a little bit more complicated, a little bit more work. But if I can make that work, I won't have to use this other feature, which is simpler, but it's just straight up broken. That's the problem. So, I've got links to the Coinbase in the description. You can check it out for more information. But the Coinbase right now, it's like a 3 or 4 out of 10. It's still annoying. But if I can't make this other send feature work, that's going to be, that's going to definitely bump it up a few notches there. These other friction points they're not all that big of a deal. I've got workarounds, and the others, it's more at this point, it's just like, this is what happens, huh? Sort of thing. So it's just more of like kind of collecting knowledge around that and whatnot. So not too big of a deal, but it's still there. All right, kudos. I'm wearing my JetBrains shirt today, and this is in regards to Citizen Matt, who works at JetBrains. And I got the shirt from JetBrains, which was awesome. It was for like a token of appreciation or something. Maybe it was like filling out a survey or whatnot. But I love the shirt, and I love JetBrains, and Citizen Matt works for JetBrains, and I just had to just spend a second here. I've got a link in the description. You can check out the link there. Just a 12-year issue. And it's a major issue too, and it's 12 years. And there was what makes this so appealing is that there was no communication. There was no update from JetBrains at all about what was taking so long, or if this is something that they're going to fix, or, but 12 years, 12 full years, over a decade that this has been known. And it's not, for me, it's Writer. Like, I wanted to adopt Writer, and I was going through and I was trying to use it, and it was going really well until I hit this problem with the tooling. And so you can't dock the windows, right? And so with Visual Studio, I've got all my Windows completely docked exactly how I want it. Well, this has been going on, like I mentioned, for 12 years. And I got into a conversation with Citizen Matt and Khalid, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, who is a developer advocate there at JetBrains, and also Sebastian. Hello to all of you. I just wanted to say hi and thank you. But anyway, we got into a conversation. I'll also link this in the description as well about, monitors and multi-monitor use. And it was just one of those things where I've got 6 monitors that I'm using, and this is like a really important thing to me. And they were like, do you really have 6 monitors? And it kind of got that vibe, right? They were kind of being polite about it, but I was also getting the vibe that, I don't believe you, sort of thing. So, I almost got snarky with it too. Now, this is another kind of thing I wanted to mention. Is I almost got snarky. I almost got my snark cannon loaded for that, and I'm glad I didn't, right? Because they were actually really paying attention. This is like an honest thing. And once they saw, I used my videos. I used one of my videos for the Startup Battlefield. From last year, and which, that's a whole story on its own, right? But anyways, it shows my 6 monitors, and so it's sort of like proof, right? And they use that as part of motivation to get this done. So thank you, Citizen Matt. Thank you, JetBrains. Kudos. You win a major award for the day and more. Yeah, so effectiveness level is exactly the same as 2 weeks ago. So sort of a feeling sort of thing. I'm actually really writing great code right now, and the code that I'm writing is really just really flowing through, and that's actually about a 9 or 10 to be honest with you, but it's also a feeling, right? Like, I'm in this awkward spot, and I'm not, effectiveness would be like, hey, I'm able to announce this and talk freely about this on Twitter without any feeling like I'm going to have repercussions or anything like that, of that nature. Like, I'm kind of scared right now if someone visits a site, and that's just sort of a very awkward feeling. That's not a place you want to be, sort of thing. And so, yeah, that mitigates it a little bit for me. So 6.5 feels about right. Okay, time to shill. It's my favorite part of the episode where I walk you through a feature if I have one to demonstrate, and this week I do. I'm going to kind of go into the transaction explorer that I created, and you can get to that either by clicking on your profile or account. I like clicking on the numbers because it's the value of the account, sort of thing. In this case, this will take you to the Flares account, which kind of shows you your primary Flare account, which is where the money goes in and goes out. And so here you are. You've got your Flares, or you can just go to your profile. What you're looking for are these 3 buttons up top. And so either one of those links has these 3 buttons. And in particular, we're looking at the transactions. So we'll click on that, and that will take you to your transaction list. So this is a list of all your transactions in your history. And so this is, when I first started this, it's one of the very first things I built, and it started out with deposits, and then I had deposits, and then I added withdrawals, and then I had 2 different sections. So each page had its own, or each thing had its own page, sort of thing, and then I added on top of that network transactions. So in-network transactions, so sales, resales, proceeds, and things of that nature. So transfers. And so it was basically 3 different pages, and it was really difficult to see what your running total was. And so what I did is I built this, basically just rebuilt it from scratch, and so everything is now on one page. It's just this Sync Fusion control, and as you know, as I mentioned in previous episodes, Sync Fusion, awesome control company, and their grid control here does all the work for me, and I put it all in here. So what you can see is all, in this case, is all the transaction history of my account, and you can see it just kind of just starts out with the first total, and just kind of goes through step by step, and you can see what the running total is. So much easier to see what is going on. It's sort of like a bank statement sort of thing, and that's exactly what I was going for, right? And now I wanted to take this concept and then move that to the administration application, which is what I've done. And so that's kind of the other thing too, is just kind of seeing, okay, from the system perspective, and eventually I want to get that surface to the application you see here, so anyone can see all transactions from the network. And so this is kind of a sample. It's kind of like the first preview of what that will look like. And so everyone has this now. So if you go to the transaction history, you'll see this control, and hopefully it's a lot better than what it was, and you appreciate it as much as I do. I'm having a difficult time believing the time it's telling me right now. It's saying less than 17 minutes. And this has been basically a full episode. I did every single slide here, which is, I even got a feature demonstration, and it's about 17 minutes, which is pretty good. So this final slide is just, wrapping up here. Just wanted to share my appreciation to everyone out there watching these videos. I have 14 subscribers now, which is 14 more than I ever expected when I started these out, and I was horrified putting my name and my face out there, but I've got 14 subscribers, so thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you for everyone who's liking and watching. Very much appreciated. Even though I'm not promoting it, another month, just give me another month, I promise you. It will get better. There's going to be a lot more promotions going on, but just hang with me here for another month to get this administration application together, and hopefully we'll take it off from there, and we'll get some more traffic and more traction here. All right, well, thank you again for all of your support, and until next time, stay bright and stay safe out there. Goodbye.